We just had the best opening to this podcast ever, and I hadn't hit record yet.
Oh, God.
Snooze you lose.
I am so rattled, and we're only 3 days into 2019, and this year's a write-off.
That's it. We'll be back for 2020. Thank you for tuning into the Winged Wheel podcast. Don't forget to support us on our website, www.reddit.com. That's all. Thank you. Welcome back to the Winged Wheel podcast.
Is it 2020 already?
Oh, God.
Time flies. Christ, am I 40 yet?
Are you not?
I mean...
You're
maybe.
31.
I stopped counting a while ago.
Evan, did we have a deal with Evan? Because we said every time that Evan is here, he's starting the episode.
You said it was for 2018.
That doesn't sound like something we'd say.
Yes, it does.
I'm more of an in perpetuity kind of guy, you know? I'm all about commitment. In some ways.
So we were about to start recording, and just out of habit, because Evan's here, I just literally go, alright, let's get going. Evan, you ready? And Evan responded with...
I'm not telling you.
You can't say
That's
that.
not free.
It's not. You can't.
I don't just do free.
You can't. We don't
bits.
manufacture the moment. We're organic. Like this nice Mill Street Organic. Proud sponsor of Not This Podcast. Mill Street Organic. If you buy it, nothing will happen to this podcast. Use promo code MeUndies for no % off. I'm one of the
real podcast unless we're sponsored by them.
I honestly kind of want to reach out to them, but I'm afraid the answer will just be an immediate yes. And then where's the chase, you know?
I would. There's almost no company I won't sponsor on here. I have no shame at all.
We say all the time that we're very particular about who we do, and we are. I don't know why you would say that. Brad has sold out.
I am ready to sell out. I would sell all of you out for like a half a bag of peanuts.
Yeah, this is what fatherhood does to a man.
Listen, man, I gotta feed that kid somehow, okay?
She's feisty, that one.
And getting big, fast.
Yeah, she's getting tall. She's gonna be a tall kid.
She's a very tall kid.
She got that from Crystal.
Funny story about that after the podcast, but...
Funny story right now, Brad is actually 4'9", in case you didn't know.
Yes.
Yeah, he's actually, he qualifies for a car seat. This is the Winged Wheel Podcast. I'm Ryan Hanna.
I'm Brad Crisco.
I'm Evan. I'm so tired. It's a weeknight. I never come to these episodes. Ever. You have forced me here.
We didn't. Actually, I don't know what got into you. Really.
I was in my pajamas.
This is a midweek episode, and we have a ton to talk about. The World Juniors have been storied, for sure, depending on what country you're from. Detroit has been... Detroit... the All-Star Game surprisingly has controversial picks, but more controversial than other years? Definitely. We'll talk about it more. And the Oilers in a huge change of pace did Edmonton Oilers things. So a lot of negatively oriented... All of this news is negatively oriented. Oh, wow.
This is fun. So I gotta start with the positives. Because... That's what I promised I would do. Wait, I said that for 2018, or did I say that for this season? I feel like
You
I
said season.
Shit. Okay, so...
We would...
I'm trying to figure out a positive to take a Red Wings spin on this. Malty Setkov scored a goal in the World Juniors.
He did, which
there we
is
go.
a
Red Wings,
great achievement.
a Red Wings prospect actually scored a goal in the World Juniors. Congratulations to Malty Setkov. Your team is one loss away from being relegated and not being back in this tournament next year.
They lost to Kazakhstan 4-3.
That was the game Setkov scored in. That was the only game Denmark scored in.
Can you imagine what could be more embarrassing than losing that relegation game when your team that's usually on the bottom end but still makes the World Juniors? Ooh, would it be being a perennial medalist in the World Juniors and losing in the quarterfinals?
At home.
At home, when you had previously won 14-0 and then lost in an embarrassing display of hockey saved only by your goalie.
Goal differential, man, I'm telling you.
Hey, plus was it positive 18 goal differential?
Don Cherry went on a rant after he's like, if hockey gods are a thing,
He
they will come back and haunt you for running up the score like that. And I'm not a believer in superstition and karma and all that, but maybe...
You're a little stitious. You have to be a little stitious after that one.
Oh,
He put the bad juju on Canada.
And I mean, Max Comtois, the guy who was diving all over the place during the tournament, he's the one that misses the penalty shot in overtime. And that doesn't even get... Okay, so let's...
How do you not give Frost a shift in overtime?
How do you not have anybody but Maxime Comtois take that penalty shot.
Well, when Hitchcock leaves, they've got the perfect coaching candidate lined up.
Wait, like this isn't the era of the Taves teams, the Crosby teams, or that's no more. That's gone. The captain's not the best player anymore.
No, it's not. Honestly, and okay, let me start by saying this. I am one of Maxime Comtois' biggest critics. In a lot of ways. That being said, for those of you who have been online, just absolutely blasting this kid with insults and threats and all that stuff since he missed that penalty shot, you suck as a human being and you should have the internet taken away from you. Now that that's being said, I don't blame Comtois or any of this. I put Canada's poor tournament solely at the feet of the coach.
Coaching for sure.
This was a poor. This team reminded me so much of the Red Wings. It was eerie and frustrating. And why do I watch this sport? Anyways, so Canada. This was one of the weaker iterations of Team Canada. I think we can all agree with this. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that 14-0 win did a lot to mask it, but yes, in terms
It wasn't
of
really
talent,
like a ultra superstar, but we had a lot of strong players.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was not a top-heavy team. Like Canada's top line usually can, at the very least, go pound for pound with every other team's top line, and that very much was not the case this year. But they had depth. Mm-hmm. So that was a team that, in a short tournament, being able to roll 4 lines and the 13th forward plays in your favor because you're playing back-to-back games often and you only ever get one day in between. So having that ability to keep your stars rested, yada, 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 should have been a ploy. I have never seen a junior team deployed like they were a top-heavy team like this before. Those top 6 forwards and top 4 defensemen for Canada, I swear, just played every other shift. The 4th line barely exists. The 3rd line was used sparingly at best. The bottom 3 defensemen were just kind of there. And watch the Finland game. Canada gassed. They were burned out. Finland badly outshot them. And yet somehow, if not for a poor decision on a penalty shot and the flukiest damn play I've ever seen in a hockey game, Canada would be in the semis right now.
Yeah, Noah Dobson's stick blowing up was heartbreaking.
That was a wide open net. Easiest goal Dobson will score this year, and his stick explodes, and Finland literally scores off of that turnover.
A lot should be said. DiPietro had a fantastic game. Both goaltenders had a wonderful game. And you know what? Good on the Finns. Like, they kept Canada in check. They forced DiPietro to have a great game to even get to overtime.
Also, their goalie was really good.
Lights out.
Ukko-Pekka
Luukkonen is probably the best kept secret in the NHL prospect system right now. He has been lights out for Sudbury all year.
Vancouver
prospect?
guy?
Buffalo.
DiPietro's Vancouver.
DiPietro's Vancouver.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and also in a sad twist of fate, Toni Uutinen, I'm pretty sure, is a Vancouver prospect. So he was the guy who scored the overtime goal in Vancouver to knock out Canada. Needless to say, I don't think any Canucks fans are going to be buying his jersey when he makes the bigs.
Well, funny, the semis are a funny group. Like, you never discount the Finns. The Finns have actually done extremely well in international tournaments, especially over the last 5 years. This tournament,
Finland's been a hockey powerhouse the last few years, and because again, it's
where all good goalies are made. Believe it or not.
We've went on rants about this before, and I'll probably go on a rant about this again in the off season. But Canada, the way Hockey Canada runs its minor hockey league programs right now is bad, and it's not skill focused. And the European countries and the United States, they teach kids skill first and systems later, and it's not a coincidence that all the seemingly top and high skill players have been coming in the past few drafts from everywhere but Canada. Not that Canada's devoid of talent. We're gonna get good players just out of the sheer volume of players we produce. But look at this draft. Capo Kakko is an underager. He's been one of the best players for Finland in this tournament. Jack Hughes is an American. Vasily Podkolzin is playing for Russia. That's just this draft. You look at previous drafts, it's not been Canada heavy at the top.
We probably have a lot of new listeners who don't know. We're Canadian, the 3 of us, which is why Brad is using we. But we're going to get to America, don't worry.
We got a lot of countries to cover because Sweden. Oh, Sweden.
Switzerland is in the semifinals, which means they beat Sweden. Good on the Swiss. The Swedes in Canada, there's a case to be made that was going to be the gold medal game.
Sweden has not lost a game in the round robin of the World Juniors, I believe, since 2008.
Yeah, it's been the last decade, even more maybe.
It sounds like that's like a joke. No, they literally have not lost a round. I think their winning streak is like 48 games.
Yeah.
And there's only 4 games in the round robin, so whatever the math on that works out to be.
I think there's something like 13 and 16 in elimination games, though.
Yeah. 14 and 15, I see that.
Something like that.
Yeah, so they've got 1 gold medal to show in that streak. So it's...
that would be more frustrating, I think.
Definitely.
Than being, silver, bronze, some 4th medal finishes, and golds. I'd way rather do that than, clean out the round robin and then fall flat.
Yeah, that was...
Like Canada, a little bit this year. Although we didn't really play well after the Denmark game.
Canada scored, I think it was, 9 or 10 goals after that game in 4 games. That's not great in the juniors. It's 2.5.
They played good for a period against the Swiss, and then that was about it for the rest of the tournament, I thought.
They had a good game against the Czechs. They played well against the Czechs.
Yeah, but the Czechs had a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
And I thought that game was closer than it looked.
Yeah, it was. And to be fair, I actually thought defense and goaltending were Canada's strength in this tournament. And I don't actually think Canada's defense played all that bad. I think they were actually pretty strong. Evan Bouchard in particular had a really strong tournament. Just they couldn't score when they needed to. But, Sweden... Sweden, admittedly, this wasn't one of their stronger rosters. Their defense was insane between Brandstrom and Boqvist and everybody. Their offense was lighter than normal, but still, defense is strength, right? Right? Does it? It's nice to see, though, that the offensive teams are the ones succeeding in the World Juniors, too. It's not just an aberration happening in the NHL right now. It's kind of an overall trend in hockey, which is a little relieving.
It's nice.
But, yeah.
The Czechs that have been mentioned fell victim to the United States. Jack Hughes was back for that game. They won 3-1. Jack Hughes looked... I'm kind of excited that he's back and has...
Mika's not.
No, Mika's not. Mika's actually quite upset about the Canada loss.
Yeah, we all are.
Watching Jack Hughes in the semifinals and the final, or possibly the finals, will be really exciting.
It's fun, and watching Jack Hughes makes me feel a lot better about Detroit's recent streak, which we'll get to later.
Detroit's top prospect right now, Filip Zadina,
speaking of the Czechs,
went goalless in the tournament.
Scored 7 last year in 7 games, 0 for this year.
Yeah. He wasn't on a line with Nikash and Kaup this year.
He was playing on a line, and I watched a lot of his games. The 2 guys he was playing with are... how do I put this politely? Because I don't want to...
Can you say their names? Do you know their names?
One of them was Mahala, and I don't know the other one. But either way,
that says it all.
They are not World Junior caliber hockey players, and it showed because they could not get Zadina the puck. But that being said, Zadina was doing himself no favors trying to get the puck either, and it showed. I think he finished with 2 assists.
I think at best 2 assists. Yeah.
Not that he didn't have his chances. He made his plays. He had a couple posts. Again, he had a guy miss and emptying it on the top of the crease. It should have been another easy assist for him. I'm not panicking. It's a small tournament, and he was put in a bad spot on a bad team, but he didn't do a lot to help himself out. There were rumors going into the tournament that he didn't actually want to go. He wanted to stay with Grand Rapids. I don't know how true that is, but whatever. It is what it is. I mean, it's not like Joe Veleno and Jared McIsaac were lighting the world on fire, or like Multi-Setkov was, so...
Yeah, it's true.
I think McIsaac had a strong tournament.
Yeah, I think him and Veleno had strong tournaments in the, minimal ice time they got.
Yeah.
Which, again, is more of a criticism on the coach than Veleno.
And they'll both be back next year, I think.
So, McIsaac will almost certainly back. Veleno will determine, because he is eligible for the tournament next year, but he's also eligible for Grand Rapids and Detroit.
Depends on if Detroit releases their top-line center.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? You laugh. We're one Dylan Larkin injury away from that being a reality next year, so...
It's so true, and I don't want to think about that. We're going to do Canada for a quick second. This isn't a new sentiment, but it's been a while since we brought it up. Hockey Canada has the same issue that the Oilers and actually quite a few Canadian teams have had recently. It's an old boys club. The decision-making for Hockey Canada has usually been questionable at best. I think the reason there wasn't a lot of roster controversy this year is because, as Brad mentioned, it wasn't a very talent-heavy team. They didn't have a lot to pick from. It was just kind of like all he could pick.
Yep.
look at the way this was deployed. The team was deployed, coached, managed.
It wasn't who made the team. I had no problems with that because you were really splitting hairs at the bottom of that lineup. But yeah, Max Comtois playing 20-plus minutes a game. Again, he was the Justin Hablocator of Team Canada. He was the guy who brought the grit and intangibles and the diving, which Hablocator doesn't do, and the coach valued the hell out of that and mistook it for being a top-end skill player. He's not a poor player. Like, he's a good player by junior standards, do not get me wrong, but he's not at the level of a Cody Glass. He's not at the level of a Morgan Frost, a Barrett Hayton, Owen Tippett, Nick Suzuki. Like, out of all
just named 5 guys who would have.
So now he's on the third line.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not. It's the same reason that we always dump on Advocator. We don't hate Justin Advocator for what he is. We hate Justin Advocator because of the way Blashill deploys him. It's the same thing with Max Comtois on Team Canada. Max Comtois wouldn't say no to getting this seat. Max Comtois is not going to say no to the ice time. He's not going to say no to taking this penalty shot. This is not his fault. But people are blaming him like it's his fault.
No. Yeah, it's...
Like, the
4 goals against the Danes. Yeah, sure, it was nice, but... threw everyone for a loop.
He was playing on a line with Owen Tippett and Cody Glass. I'd probably get a couple goals on that line.
I pulled his stats up, just out of curiosity. Now, he has 5 games played in the Q, 4 games played in the A, and 10 games in the NHL.
Yeah, he kept getting demoted this year.
But that doesn't seem like many games. That's only 19 games.
He might have had an injury that I was unaware of.
Well, he played 5 games and had 7 points in Drummondville, so...
Joe Valeno had 31 in his last 9 in Drummondville.
Wow.
He was born in 1999.
That's all we're going to talk about.
Oh my god.
Joe Valeno was born in 2000.
Oh god. That's bizarre.
Jack Hughes is 2001.
No. You shut up. No, he wasn't. Jack Hughes was born in 2001.
This upcoming draft is a 2001 class.
Don't they?
I was in high school, Ryan.
Don't they stop at some point? Don't they say, no, this is too much? Oh, May of 2001. It's halfway.
I was just...
He doesn't even know what Napster is.
He doesn't know what LimeWire is.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what Kazaa is.
Oh my goodness.
May 2001, I was just finishing up grade 9.
Ew.
I have memories from 2001. I remember things from that.
I barely remember things from that time.
I had a graduation plaque on my wall already.
You graduated?
Grade 8,
Wow.
I made it that far.
No, shut up.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Capped out at grade 10 and a half. It was great.
Grade 10 and a half. Grade 10 and 3/4 got really difficult.
Oh, it was
The semifinals are actually going to be extremely fun. I think with the 4 teams that are in there, this is probably the best matchups you could have made in terms of being competitive.
I mean, Switzerland, they're a great story, and I'm absolutely rooting for them, but they're not at the level of the other 3 teams. They need another miracle to pull this one off, because they're playing Finland. Finland's a far superior team, but hey, Switzerland, a great example of what a good coach can do with a mediocre team.
Russia and USA are the other semifinal.
I'm going to predict the gold comes out of that game. And we haven't even talked about Russia, who I feel is probably the strongest team left in this tournament.
Because all their players are old.
You talk about not being a top-heavy team for Canada. I feel like Russia's the inverse. They have a lot of really good talent.
But their top line of Denisenko, Kravtsov, and who's the third one on that line? Marchenko, I believe. That line's a
There's a name from the past. Holy.
right. Different one.
Well, maybe not. You never know with Russia.
He's even wearing number 47. What the hell? But, yeah, that top line's just running a show on everybody they're playing right now. And the U.S.'s strong point is not their defense. So that's going to be a real interesting matchup. That should be one hell of a game, though. That is going to be
a blast.
Fast hockey game, which is, what I was hoping Canada would do, but they didn't. So
to show how petty Canadian fans are, on the official WIHF app, you can, before each game, slide to cheer. So you slide this bar in the direction of one team or another, and it counts like the net number of cheers for a certain team. So Canada always had the most by like 14,000. For the Swiss-Finland game, the current favorite is Switzerland. Which, of course, I'm sure there are more Swiss hockey fans on this app than Finns, right?
100%.
But it's just bitter Canadians who are mad that Finland beat them. It is really fun to see teams that beat a powerhouse like Canada lose their minds in celebration. Like you would have thought the Finnish coaches just won the gold medal.
They might. They got a shot.
Yeah. Well, no, they were great. And this is if you discount the Finns. Like, that was, no one ever thought that was an easy draw for Canada.
Regardless of the strength of the Canadian team, beating Canada is always the, pardon my pun, the gold standard for most tournaments. You know, you beat Canada, that sends a shock to not only the hockey world, but basically Canada as a country. Canada losing at hockey is tough to swallow, even on the worst of teams we have.
Yes, our ego for 60 is really low right now.
Yes, very low.
All-time low.
Yeah.
So the nice thing is once Canada got eliminated and that overtime goal was scored, the third period in the Red Wings game had just started. So it was nice because I could take my mind off it and I could, go watch the third period of the Red Wings game and cheer up.
Foolish, Brad. Foolish.
Yeah, I regretted all my life decisions that night.
Weren't they winning when you turned
3-0 by the end of the first. 2-0, sorry.
It was 3-3 when I turned it on.
So I was texting Adam, who likes to watch the Wings games, not for supportive reasons, for sadistic reasons.
Yes.
The Red Wings were up 2-0. Was it 2? It was 2 or 3-0.
It was 3-0 at the end of the first period.
Yeah. And Adam said, "So do you think they win it?" Obviously thinking that they blow the lead. And I'm like, "Yeah. Usually a team that gives up 3 goals to the Wings in the first is not having a good night." I was like, yeah. There's no way they lose it. And then I actually wasn't able to watch a lot of that game. And my phone was buzzing off the hook, and then I looked at it, and I read the text from Adam first, and he just sent like I think it was like an emoji, like just a questioning face, and I looked at the score, I was like, oh my god. How?
Because generally when a team gives up 3 goals in the first period to the Red Wings, they're having a bad night. Do you know who else generally has bad nights?
Bad teams.
The Red Wings. It was, a 2-0 lead they gave up 2 days before against Florida?
Yeah.
Did we start using all of our fourth and third line D pairings?
Hey, our fourth line had a goal against Calgary.
Wow.
I mean, Michael Rasmussen being on the fourth line is one thing, and him banking one in off
our
Del
lines
Rose.
don't make much sense.
Yeah,
Del Rose.
Del Rose has been alright, but I mean, if he excites you,
It's inconsequential, really.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. The nice thing about the last 2 games is Detroit's goals, for the most part, by and large, have been very pretty.
Vanek scored, I think.
Did he? Yeah, he did, off the face-off. Oh my god, a face-off! I'm so happy I couldn't watch that game, because when I saw Detroit score off a face-off, I'm like, oh my god, the broadcast is going to be insufferable for the next 45 minutes.
It's so funny. Someone tweeted, they're like, that's our one face-off win for the year. Or that's our one face-off
win.
goal.
We said in an episode, like 2 to 3 times a year, the face-offs will actually directly result in something. The rest of the year it's inconsequential. There's one of them that they're going to show on loop for the next 12 months. But
I honestly think they might do it for seasons ahead. They're going to use it, because they're not going to stop talking about face-offs, and that's going to be... They have B-roll now.
Yeah.
They can now do it when the play isn't happening. Can you imagine your team being so bad that the commentators actually have to fill the airtime with something substantial and engaging because the ice, what's happening on the ice isn't?
You know what's funny though? Look at Nyquist's goal. That was beautiful. Going under the guy's triangle, putting the backhand top corner. Athanasiou scores on a breakaway, and then scores on a penalty shot. Darren Helm has an out-of-body experience, and I think actually goes Freaky Friday with
all we're missing
Andres Athanasiou and scores a goal in his first game back. And
he always does that. He comes back and you're like, did he learn how to? Did he go to
the world on fire?
Dick handling guru? Did he go to a goal scoring finishing guru? No, he just he forgets that he has bad hands, and he'll do something like that. I guarantee you that's going to be gone. It's going to fade away within the next game.
It's like he'll chunk a shot in practice and then just go, oh, right.
Yeah.
This is who I am.
And then he'll just intentionally not. He'll only be fast. Athanasiou scored on a penalty shot.
And a breakaway the game before.
Did he shoot in the shootout?
He did not.
Who shot in the shootout, Brad?
Nielsen, who hasn't scored in what feels like 10 years in the shootout.
Yeah.
Nyquist.
What move did he try?
Did he do the...
One of his 2 moves that never works, which is the only 2 moves he has. But hey, they took Vanek out of the shootout. That was something. It wasn't Athanasiou that shot.
That was Larkin.
I mean, that's probably the next best choice, but still. Athanasiou, whose breakaway percentage in his career is got to be 80%. And now in penalty shots this season is 1 for 1. And I believe he took 1 shootout attempt this year and scored on it.
This is where sample size can be used inversely towards your point.
Yes, but if we're talking including breakaways, we go back to his rookie season, he's got to be at least 80%. I have absolutely no fathomable reason anymore what is defendable about the coaching decisions on this team. Fun fact, I don't think we talked about it last episode. Someone actually put a chart together to tabulate successful versus unsuccessful coaches challenges this season.
Yeah. Jeff Blashill, I don't think was last.
Pete DeBoer was last.
Good old Kitchener boy.
Yeah, Jeff Blashill was second last.
Prashanth did these.
I believe so, yeah.
But he also did a little bit of a deeper dive, and I think it was that Jeff Blashill also had the most number of successful goalie interference challenges.
I don't remember one.
Wait, again? Wait.
Are we talking about the last 5 years or this season? Because this season I can't remember.
I should look that up before I speak to it a little more, but I remember him saying, like, unless you really, really, really value that timeout, which, like, whatever, he actually wins the most. He challenges the most by a lot.
He knows we're not going to be winning in the last 2 minutes of the third period, so he just is like, we don't need this timeout.
To be fair,
Sorry,
like,
timeout or penalty?
Is that a penalty now?
For offside. It's penalty if you're wrong on an offside.
That's what it is. Yeah, I was confused for a second.
Right.
Yeah,
It's still just a timeout on a goalie interference. But the thing is, too, like, to cut in Blashill's defense, there has been a couple times where goal was scored and the goalie got bumped a little bit, whereas whether or not it was goalie interference, it probably was the opportune time to call a timeout because it was fresh off Detroit blowing another 2 or 3 goal lead. My God, I can't get over how many leads this team blows. Anyways.
Bad teams blow leads, Brad.
It's not at this
leads,
rate,
Brad.
and it's not like they're blowing 1-0 leads every game. It's 2, it's 3. They give us the optimism and a reason to watch and take it away.
That's what bad teams
blow.
do.
Brad teams blow.
Sounds like a really bad party trick.
Well, I don't know what kind of parties you go to. Is it the... Never mind. The Red Wings...
Let's not put ourselves on a list.
They play...
We're already on a few.
Nashville on Friday, and then Washington on Sunday.
Oh my God!
We'll likely have the episode out before the Washington game starts.
1 touchdown or 2 touchdowns?
Yeah. Before we
Could Alabama beat the Red Wings?
Well,
I've never seen more physically athletic people become non-physically athletic people when they put skates on. If they ever figure out how to skate, we're screwed.
In less happy news than the losses, Larkin's point streak is over. 14 games.
14 games. It was fun while it lasted, and I think the Red Wings won 3 games over that streak. So, thanks for wasting it.
Trevor Daley's out 3 to 5 weeks with an injury.
It's not like...
Oh no!
This is just getting sad.
Yeah, it is. It's actually really rough. Witkowski's a regular NHLer, and they called up Blashoff to sit in the press box. Or play 5 minutes a game.
Luke Witkowski is going to play for 3 weeks straight.
Yeah. He's going to play a lot of hockey.
Buckle up.
My God, this is the darkest timeline.
Mantha's back Friday against Nashville. Hallam, obviously, as Brad mentioned, is back. Scored his goal.
Yeah, Mantha, they said, is skating on the line with Franz Nielsen and Thomas Vanek because logic.
He said he worked on his skating while he was hurt, which I don't understand why he had to do if he's going to be playing with Nielsen and Vanek. He's just going to outskate them if he goes any faster.
I mean, Larkin and Mantha probably had the best chemistry between 2 players on this team, so yeah, of course you split them up. Why would you do that? Let's keep elite first line winger Justin Abdelkader up there. Oh my God, I just want this season to end. The bright side about the World Juniors, I finally figured out the optimistic view. My God, are Jack Hughes, Capo Caco, and Vasily Podkolzin unreal. Caco is probably a lot closer to Hughes than I think people give him credit for.
I thought this was the most runaway race we've seen since McDavid got drafted. Not that he was at McDavid's level, but it was like Hughes in a tier of his own. But Manny on Twitter is not the only person saying that maybe Caco should go first anymore. A lot of people are it's going to be...
I still put Hughes first. Even worst case scenario, Ty goes to the center. But yeah, it's not that big a gap. Caco is good.
Podkolzin's good.
Podkolzin's real good.
There's a lot of... It's hard because we always say, like, for example, we thought, and still think that Detroit hit the jackpot because they got a top 3 talent in Zadina. This is another draft that looks like you have a lot of like guys who would go 2 to
Top
6
five,
on
top
a lot
six
of years.
Six are looking good.
Available all the way till 6 or 7 or 8.
That's real nice. It's the one thing keeping me sane this
Hey,
season.
guess what, guys? Guess who's in last? St. Louis. Guess who is in 25th? Us. Guess who have 5 games in hand? St. Louis.
Yeah, Detroit point percentage adjusted is actually only second last to Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago's 42 games, 36 points. We're
Yeah.
42 games, 37 points.
Yep. Right now, in the Eastern Conference specifically, Philly is 1 point back with 3 games in hand, and Ottawa's 2 points back with 1 game in hand. So
How is Ottawa worse than us? How is that
They're not.
possible?
They're not.
If I was a betting man, Ottawa would beat us 7 times out of 10.
Hey, over the last 10 games, there's not a team worse than Detroit in the league. 1-6-3. It's honestly just because of the sheer number of
No,
games. That
Ottawa's 2-7-1.
1-6-3 is worse than 2-7-1. No.
Yeah, but they've lost 6 in a row.
Ottawa's lost 6 in a row. No,
Oh, Detroit's lost 6 in a row.
Detroit's lost
oh
1.
god, this is
No, Detroit's lost 1.
What?
this.
Yeah.
Is the score
Well, okay,
not
sorry,
up to
sorry.
date?
Some apps count overtime losses, some don't.
I'm
So
just,
you're counting overtime losses, you're not.
I'm just on the
Okay.
official NHL website, which you'd think would count overtime losses, but they don't.
No, because Detroit needs all the goddamn pity points they can
It's
get.
all
'cause-
the participation points, boys.
correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're looking at the NHL website, Detroit is dead last for regulation or overtime wins, are they not? I've never checked this. It's just
We
an
have
assumption I'm making.
15.
Tied with. They have 13. They're tied with
Oh.
Philly.
Oh, wait.
Who has 3
Oh,
games
yeah,
in
yeah.
hand?
Yes.
Cool. We're dead last in that one. Awesome. This is great. I love life. Oh my god! But the World Juniors, so many good prospects. So much fun. It's great. Jonathan Bergen was throwing shade at Sweden, which was fun. I couldn't read the tweet; it was in a different language. But apparently, that's what happened.
Other negative things that aren't Detroit. The Edmonton Oilers.
They
Peter
continue to
Chiarelli.
Edmonton.
Peter Chiarelli, there's things have been coming to a boil just on time, only 14 months too late in Edmonton. And he was really on the hot seat. And we predicted he's going to make some moves that are going to hurt the team further because he does not know how to make good hockey moves. Whenever a general manager goes, ooh, my team is desperate for success, they're underperforming, I'm going to make a move. They have never won a trade in history. I dare you to find one. Kidding. Don't look. It's a waste of your time and mine. Don't even tweet it at me. I don't want to hear about it because you're wrong. Peter Chiarelli is going through his death throes. And his death throes came in the form of 2 trades. First, they traded the recently acquired Chris Weidman, who they got for a 6th round pick, which was a great trade in my mind. They traded Chris Weidman and a 3rd for Alex Petrovic from Florida.
What?
Who's no chump.
Didn't they protect him over Marchessault, though?
And
Yep.
yeah,
How do 2 teams both catastrophically lose 1 trade?
Holy.
can you say that Petrovic, if you erase this poor year from him, should be a lot better than Weidman? Maybe not a lot, but I can hear your argument. Could you say that Petrovic is right now playing worse than Weidman? Or is playing poor enough where if you were going to trade Weidman for Petrovic, for whatever reason you would make that kind of weird move, you wouldn't add a 3rd round pick with Weidman?
Why are you trying to pick up bottom pairing defensemen?
Why are you making lateral moves? It's just... Anyways.
Lateral moves.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you a trivia question here, and I'm gonna give you exactly 1 guess, and I promise you will get it right. So, have you ever heard of the stat goals above replacement?
Yeah.
Going by that metric, do you know who the worst defenseman in the NHL is this year?
Is it Alex Petrovic?
You win!
Oh my god, I won the rest of this beer!
You are now the GM of the Edmonton Oilers. Congratulations.
I am positive if they gave the 3 of us $50,000 each, $50,000 of motivation, they're
US.
saving hundreds of thousands of dollars compared to what they're paying Peter Chiarelli. I guarantee you we would be barely worse for the first couple months while we learned like the administrative like ticks and nuances, and then we would be marginally better than Peter Chiarelli. I mean it.
I will go a step further. If you paid me $50,000, kept Peter Chiarelli as your GM, and my only job in the organization was just to stand behind Chiarelli and repeat, don't do that. It would improve the team.
So Chiarelli makes that trade and thinks, oh boy, that felt good. You got any more of those bad trades? And then he calls up the Chicago Blackhawks, who he traded for Brandon Manning, who is a defenseman. And if you thought, hey, does Brandon Manning sound a lot like the player who destroyed Connor McDavid's collarbone in a really dirty hit?
Said it was on purpose?
And said it was on purpose, and Connor McDavid called him out and called it the most classist thing he saw on the ice, and Connor McDavid is literally the cornerstone of hockey. Does that sound like the same guy? Well, lo and behold, your intuition is right. That is the same player. They traded for the player that intentionally injured not only the best player in the world, their best player. Their literal franchise. And then they traded for Robin Norrell. But Robin Norrell is the 57th ranked prospect in the Chicago Blackhawks organization. He was ranked the 57th best prospect in the Blackhawks organization.
They probably had to look in the book and find out who that guy was.
I never pronounced his name wrong, but they trade Drake Cagula. Is that right?
Kajula.
Oh, yeah, he was like almost best buds with
McDavid. They were close.
They traded McDavid's best friend for his worst enemy in the NHL.
McDavid has the best, like, 1,000-yard stare during interviews I've ever seen. Him and Blashill could just have, like, a meme off.
They were like, we got McDavid's blessing. First of all, what a stupid, petty, or not petty, but pitiful statement.
That's how you know it's a thing, when they have to do that.
Second of all,
if you know you have to do that, that's probably not a good sign.
Oh, Peter, just as a tip, if you ask McDavid, you go, hey, I know you're not going to love this, but I really don't want to lose my job. I really like hanging out with these guys. Would it be okay if I traded for Brandon Manning? And McDavid goes, wait, what? And he goes, just for a couple months, and I promise I'll do something else. I'll kill him or something. I'll trade him away. Just please kind of trade for Brandon Manning. And if McDavid goes, Jesus, yeah, fine, Peter, whatever. That's not his blessing. He's sick of you.
So if we want to look at the hockey end of this, so this is the Edmonton Oilers, the team where last I checked, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had combined for 51% of the team's goals this year.
That seems low.
That seems lower than I expected, but then if you put Alex Chason into it, who has 16 goals, you're probably looking at like 75% of the team's offense. Drake Caggiula, who they traded for a replacement-level defenseman, was sitting 5th on the team with 7 goals. And now that they've traded him, the 5th and 6th place goal scorers on the team are defensemen.
Yeah, 5 goals will make you a top 5 scoring forward on the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, wow. Right now, 6 on the Oilers in goals has 3. 3 goals.
That's not good.
Not that Edmonton's defense was a bunch of stalwarts and going for Norris trophies here, but that was far from their problem, the biggest problem this season. The fact that only 3 players can score with any kind of consistency is staggering, and I almost don't even want to include Alex Chason as an offensive driver because he's got 16 goals and 4 assists. I'm pretty sure this is Advocator syndrome where McDavid's just banking them in off of him. It's hilariously sad in all corners of whatever angle you want to take. It's, how does Chiarelli still run an NHL team?
The Katz family, Daryl Katz is his name.
Yep. Kate's, I think it's pronounced, but whatever, splitting hairs.
Is funny that you talk about hairs with his sons.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
He's my favorite part of the draft.
Yeah.
Kate's is complicit. And
is he just as dumb as him?
Or oblivious.
There's no way he's oblivious. He seems to be like a very in tune with hockey. So he has...
And even at that, there's guys between him and the GM. There's guys who run hockey operations, the president, the CEO, yada, yada, yada.
You would need to have 9 goals to be a top 5 scoring forward on the Red Wings, who are in case you haven't noticed, bad team that doesn't score a lot of goals.
Like, catastrophically bad. They're like 28th or 29th in goals for this year.
And you would need literally twice the amount.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep.
That's Edmonton. Yep. So if you think, again, and I mean this wholeheartedly, like, I'm saying it for the jokes and for the memes and all that, but, like, legitimately, if you're a Red Wings fan and you're going, this is so painful,
Imagine being an Edmonton fan.
Yeah, realize that even if Ken Holland stays, Detroit is still in a whole other boat compared to where Edmonton...
It's probably more frustrating being an Edmonton fan because they're watching the second best player they've ever had be wasted away. They're literally wasting away the career of the second best player they have ever had, and possibly down the road one of the best players the league has ever seen. And they're gonna be like, oh no, my microphone got droopy. It got soft on me.
Don't talk about that. That's what happens when you stay up too late on weeknights.
Yeah, it's true. They're going to look back and wonder why. And it will be so glaringly obvious. It's
a mystery right now.
I would, if I had to pick, I'd rather be a Red Wings fan right now. Rather than Edmonton. Yeah, because it would be beyond frustrating being a fan of that team.
It was funny with the point Ryan made a bit ago about where how many goals you'd have to be to sit fifth on Detroit. So I went, and like I said, 6 on the Oilers is 3 goals. So I went, how deep do you have to go down the Red Wings lineup to find 3 goals? You have to go all the way down to 12th. And this is where it gets great. The 3 guys who have 3 goals for the Red Wings are Mike Green, who's missed a lot of time with injury.
He's played 5 games.
Jacob Delarose, he came over late and is playing on the 4th line. And Jonathan Ericsson. Jonathan Ericsson will be 6th on the Edmonton Oilers in goals right now.
Holy shit.
Okay, I mean it when I say, if these are the trades Edmonton are making, okay, first of all, just as a shot in the dark, you try and shop Ericsson, just because, see if you can do it. Secondly, like, not even that it would bring you, like, some immense, like, contract, like, whatever. Ericsson will be gone in however long. Shop Danny DeKeyser as a top pairing defenseman to them. Because he is on that team, and they would have to, like, imagine what he would give up. Anything.
Nick Jensen and a 4th might get you Jesse Puljujarvi at this point.
Yeah, because it sounded like he's not a permanent fixture on that team.
Friedman, in his 31 Thoughts, said his future is very much in question right now. Like, oh my god!
How, if you're Ken Holland, are you not shopping Jensen and DeKeyser and literally any defenseman you have to Edmonton right now?
We'll retain salary.
I don't even think Chiarelli knows about that part about trades.
Oh, that's
I don't think he knows.
You can have Nick Jensen, and we will pay every last dollar of his contract. Just take him. Just have him. Give us Puljujarvi. It's good. We'll pay both contracts in full. I know under the CBA you're not allowed to do that, but whatever.
We'll break it. Bettman would go, yeah, I can see what you want.
We'll fill your soda machine for a year.
Yeah. Oh, ugh. Yeah. Obviously you don't know what's going on in the background. This isn't it. I'm not chastising Holland as I often do, but truly, I hope he's picking up the phone. People are saying Chiarelli's not done. He's looking to make more moves.
Oh my god! Oh.
Welcome to the shop of the Detroit Red Wings, where we have bottom 4, bottom 6 pairing defensemen everywhere, and they must go.
He's having an okay season by the standards of his bad seasons. So he would actually think I think he would sell for a lot.
He is an improvement on that D-core in Edmonton.
We could get Nugent Hopkins in a package for Mike Green.
I think you're right.
I say every joke I've made has been fully sarcastic, and then immediately when I say it, I go, but wait, maybe.
I think we could give him a signed Nick Lidstrom poster for like a 5th round pick. I honestly believe that if the poster is big enough, I'm talking like 3 feet by 4 feet, sign it. That would get Detroit a 5th round pick.
A pygmy Nick Lidstrom for a 5th round.
You don't even have to ship it priority mail. Just get a tracking number, send it however, roll it up in a tube.
Man, I've been trying so hard over the last few months to be like objective and like rational with my opinions and not to just throw out blatant insults. But I can't with Peter Chiarelli. He's become a caricature of himself.
Has he done a good trade?
How many first overall picks are left on the Oilers? I want to know who's getting traded for replacement level defensemen. So McDavid's going to be gone for Keith Yandel.
Taylor Hall.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins will be traded for Danny DeKeyser.
Because that's it, right? Because Yakupov and
Hall are gone.
And that's all. Draisaitl was a
third overall pick. which means he'll get a bottom pairing defenseman for him.
Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you who's got a lot of those.
Chiarelli will sometimes... Oh, you want to know the kicker to all this? So they traded Strome recently for Spooner.
They're shopping Spooner.
Yeah, he was trying to include Spooner in these bad trades.
No.
And they said no.
No, come on.
He turned Eberle and Hall into almost literally nothing.
Oh, no.
He turned two of the best wingers in his division into almost literally zero things.
To Adam Larson. And that's
They're
it.
physicists who need to study this.
Is this how black holes are created?
I think so. This is like antimatter.
I honestly think this is how wars started.
It was about land, though.
Believe it or not,
Is ice considered land?
Yes.
Alberta is actually a very sunny, tropical place with a lot of warm weather, kind-hearted people who aren't upset. There's no seasonal affective disorder. They're wealthy. They're not going through any political or social turmoil, all of that. But because Chiarelli exists there, it sucks all the light. He's like the Dementor of NHL GMs.
He's why the economy is down in Alberta right now.
Truly is.
Yeah.
He truly is. He's, I honestly think that Edmonton fans will mutiny, and I'm not talking about mutiny like they'll put up a billboard and get him fired. I think they might try to kill him.
They're literally building a pirate ship with wheels as we speak.
They're laying siege to his office. There's
gonna be billboards soon. There's I can't believe they haven't thrown a jersey on the ice yet. I would almost buy a blank jersey, put Chiarelli on it, and like a -1, and throw it on the ice.
Oh, imagine the Twitter interactions on that.
Oh my god.
It'd be pleasant and civilized, I'm sure.
Although Oilers Twitter is feisty. Jeff sometimes says something like mildly negative about them, and then he just gets attacked relentlessly for weeks.
Yeah, that whole fan base has been peaked for the last like 8 years.
Yeah, they're on edge.
We're 3 years into this Red Wings hell rabbit hole, and I'm ready to lose my mind. Could you imagine? They've had like 3 good seasons since the mid-90s. And then they get the 4 first overall picks and still suck.
Yeah, there's no way that should
I'd be running down to the arena with like Molotov cocktails back in like 2013 by now.
You're on a list.
Oh, I'm on many lists, it's fine.
Speaking of lists, the list of NHL All-Stars was an interesting one.
Speaking of bad and dumb things.
I'm going to rattle
Who
this
picks
off for
those?
you. Sometimes the fans and sometimes not the
Well,
fans.
the fans vote in the captains, which, hey, the fans did not screw up this year.
Nope, they did not. They did vote in Ovechkin, who passed, and it went instead to Crosby after, which, I mean, fair.
Fantastic.
So the Atlantic Division, Austin Matthews, Jack Eichel.
Wait, who picks these?
The fans pick the captain, the NHL somebody or others in the
So
office.
this is bound to be wrong.
Oh, yeah. And remember, the biggest thing that makes this awful is every team has to have a representative. Which
Oh
is,
yeah, that makes sense.
Otherwise known as the Detroit Red Wings rule.
I'm gonna call this the Keith Yandel stipulation.
Why, Brad?
Because I can make it, like, as bad as the Red Wings are, look at the goalies in the Atlantic Division this year. I legitimately think Howard should be there.
So the list, I'll try this. Austin Matthews, Jack Eichel, Nikita Kucherov, David Pastrnak, Steven Stamkos, John Tavares, Thomas Chabot, Keith Yandel, Jimmy Howard,
One of those things is unlike the others.
Carey Price. That's the Atlantic Division. I said Carey Price, yes. 2018 Carey Price. Central Division, Nathan McKinnon, Patrick Kane, Ryan O'Reilly, Mikko Rantanen, Mark Scheifele, Blake Wheeler, Miro Heiskanen, Roman Josi, Devin Dubnyk, Pekka Rinne.
One of those is not like the others.
The Metro, Sidney Crosby, Sebastian Aho, the one on Carolina, Cam Atkinson, Matthew Barzell, Claude Giroux, Taylor Hall, John Carlson, Seth Jones, Braden Holtby, Henrik Lundqvist.
The division is bad. Relative.
Pacific Division, Connor McDavid, this is corpse, Johnny Gaudreau, Clayton Keller, Joe Pavelski, Elias Pettersson, Brent Burns, Drew Doughty, Eric Carlson, Marc-Andre Fleury, John Gibson. Now, the NHL also has All-Star Last Men In, presented by Adidas, who doesn't sponsor this podcast. The fans,
Adidas, just do it.
now they'll never sponsor this podcast.
Perfect.
The fans will vote in the last man for each team. For the Atlantic, Patrice Bergeron, Jeff Skinner, Dylan Larkin.
How are
Sorry.
How is Jeff Skinner not just an all-star? I'm just throwing that out
Well, I'll get to two other players. Alexander Barkov, Shea Weber, Mark Stone, Braden Point, and Morgan Riley aren't on the all-star list.
And Mitch Marner. Mitch Marner's the biggest omission.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Mitch Marner's not even on the last man in list.
What? No, you're lying.
Can't even vote for him.
You're lying.
No.
Is there a
Mitch
write-in?
Marner, who should be a Hart Trophy candidate.
Who is on pace, what did you say, to have the most assists in an NHL season since 2006?
Since, like, Thornton got, like, what was it, 102 or something stupid?
Oh my god. He's not even on the last man standing list!
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, crazy, eh?
I thought he was just not on the All-Star team, which is egregious enough.
Marner
Oh my god.
Marner should be in over both Tavares and Matthews, and I mean that.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of...
Yes!
Oh, yeah.
100% yes.
Like, yeah, Matthews has been injured, but, like, and, like, that's...
And he got voted in, which is fine, so give Tavares a spot to Marner and everybody's happy.
Yeah, Marner should be in over Tavares. 100%.
Who's hosting the All-Star game this year?
I
know it's not the Islanders, but that would have been great.
I can't remember where. San Jose.
Oh.
Which is why they have 3 representatives.
Burns, Pavelski, and who?
Couture. No, sorry. Couture's on their last man in list. It's Carlson, Burns, and Pavelski.
Huh.
So the Central Division last man in: Jonathan Taves. What?
Okay.
Gabriel Landeskog, Tyler Seguin, Zach Parise, Philip Forsberg, Vladimir Tarasenko, Patrick Laine, Metro, Tuevo Teravainen, Nick Foligno, Kyle Palmieri, Andres Lee, Matt Zuccarello, Jakub Voracek, Chris Letang, Nick Backstrom of Washington. Pacific, Ryan Getzlaff, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Mark Giordano, Mark Giordano and Morgan Riley are the 2 leading candidates for the Norris Trophy, arguably, and that neither of them are on the team. Leon Draisaitl, Anze Kopitar, Logan Couture, Brock Besser, Jonathan Marchessault.
Hey, that name sounds familiar. Is that something about Petrovic?
Yeah, something like that.
So here's my opinion on this, and I think I've went on this same rant for the last 3 years, and I'm going to repeat it again. I'm just going to really shorten it up. When it comes down to it, I don't care. I didn't watch the All-Star game last year. I'm not going to watch it this year. I don't care.
As soon as you let the fans vote, the credibility of the All-Star game does no longer exist.
And the fan vote was the most credible part of the All-Star
Yeah.
game this year.
I like the way they do the fan voting. I like
Just the
captains and
captains,
last
yeah.
man in. I actually don't mind last man in.
John
it's
Scott
totally
was the
cool.
last All-Star game I ever watched, though.
So,
Yep, me too.
I have 3 points. First of all, in years previous, when Detroit didn't have a rep, I was like, well, that kind of sucks. Every team should have a rep. This year, where Detroit has Jimmy Howard, I'm like, I can see why. I would argue that there's no All-Stars on Detroit.
With the way it's formatted, that it's based, teams are based by division. What goalie
It's
in the
Division
Atlantic?
All-Stars, basically.
There's no goalie in the Atlantic that deserves it over Jimmy this year. So Detroit would have had a representative no matter what in my mind.
My third point, I agree with Brad. It doesn't matter. None of this matters. It doesn't matter.
Who cares?
Larkin, you guys should go vote D-Boss. Vote for D-Boss. You can vote 10 times a day. Definitely vote him in. Don't feel bad about other players being more deserving. Objectively, there are other players more deserving.
I mean, if you look at, what was the one stat we were talking about off air before? It was like Corsi relative. Dylan Larkin was just like light years ahead of everybody else in the league. He's just carrying that team like no other player in the league.
100%. Like Dylan Larkin is outperforming my expectations, everyone's expectation. Even the biggest Dylan Larkin fan could not have anticipated him being nearly a point per game player this far through the season.
And when the team is this
Bad.
He's doing it all himself.
truly disgusting.
But there's...
The real travesty is the league is robbing us of the McDavid versus Larkin fastest skater competition that everyone has been asking for however many years it was that Larkin won that.
Years
ago, I should say.
I will immediately care about the All-Star game again as soon as the NHL implements Jeff Merrick's idea that we talked about on this podcast. I want specialists. I want McDavid to skate out to center ice to defend his fastest skater crown, and then the lights dim,
and
the spotlight comes
down,
and then you just hear like "Go Grease Lightning" start playing over the speakers, and everybody loses their mind. Athanasiou comes out of the tunnel.
It's like Gladiator style.
Then another song starts coming. Dylan Larkin comes out of the tunnel, and then another song starts coming, and Chris Kreider comes. Like, I want this.
And the light goes to Gary Bettman, and everyone looks up, and he gives the thumbs up or thumbs down.
4 of the NHL's current top 15 scorers. 6th place, 7th place, 12th place, and 14th place. It didn't make the All-Star game. Marner, Point, Draisaitl, and Monahan.
2 of them are not even on the last man in vote.
Mitch Marner not being on the last minute. Mitch Marner, somehow, with the insane season he's having, and he's only getting better, is underrated.
The players be like, no, I don't want to go. This guy's better than me.
Yeah, but then they'll get suspended.
Yeah, like Ovechkin.
So what's the problem?
Ovechkin's smart. He's like, we get the
Their
Washington's
bye
bye week is
right
right
after.
after, and so he gets like a ton, like a month off, like 2.5 weeks off by taking the 1 game.
You see what's going to happen? His hangover is going to actually come into effect at this point.
His collective hangover is going to kill him.
This is why he's taking it off. He needs to spend like 2 weeks on... What's that drug that you administer to overdoses?
It's
Naloxone?
Naloxone, yes. He's just going to be mainlining that for like 2 weeks now.
That's the I think that's a brand name. It's not the actual drug, but there's no point looking. Mitch Marner right now has 40 assists. He's on pace right now. He's on pace for 82 assists.
Jesus.
Wow.
He has
And he's almost at 20 goals.
15 goals. Yeah.
Yeah. He's scored 7 seconds into the game today.
He's behind only Johnny Gaudreau, Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, Mikko Rantanen, and Nikita Kucherov in points.
Who's all going to the All-Star game? All of them.
Not all of them.
All of those guys are.
No?
Yeah.
Landeskog is voted in.
Oh.
Or like,
Not
the
Landeskog.
last man in.
No, Landeskog's not there. It's Gaudreau,
Oh, you said the other
McKinnon,
two.
McDavid, Rantanen, Kucherov. Brayden Point right under him, not going. Leon Draisaitl right under him, not going. David Pastrnak right under him, not going.
Yeah,
I thought Pasternak's going.
Pasternak's going, you're right. Pastrnak, Kane, yeah.
Anyways, I don't care anymore. Let's talk about something else.
Well, we're going to get into some quick hits before overtime. On my notes for this, I have topic 3, All-Star, and the sub-note is bad.
Who watches that? No one.
The quick hits. The Rangers and the Penguins were playing recently, and there was a guy just giving Crosby some apparently really good chirps while Crosby was in the box. At the end of the game, a trainer for the Penguins came over and handed the guy a stick. It was signed by Crosby, like, great chirps. Next time, take it easy on me.
The problem is that's going to start so many people in the stands just chirping players now.
Yeah, I
would
that
say
was not a problem before.
98% of the chirps you hear from people in the stands are horrible. It's like watching Minecon cringe compilations.
Come on, Abdelkader!
Yeah.
Actually, I
Brutal.
don't know if it was true or not, but there was a rumor going around that one of the guys' chirps to Crosby was Malkin would have had more cups had he had a better supporting cast.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, give him the stick.
That's a good one. That's a good one. We're going to talk about the Winter Classic.
Who cares?
Chicago played in the Winter Classic.
And they lost again because that's what they do. That's all they do now.
0-4
classics.
Jonathan Toews tied Henrik Zetterberg for the lead in points in Winter Classics. Jonathan Toews having played 1,012 Winter Classic games at this point.
Yes.
We'll talk about the next Winter Classic. It's going to be awarded to Dallas in 2020. It's been confirmed that's not Chicago that they're playing. If the
That
NHL,
is the most shocking news.
if the
They're going to
NHL
pull out
cares
the
about,
blinds and it's like, it is Chicago.
Yeah. If the NHL wants to be controversial, they should make it Minnesota and put Dallas in the North Stars
They
jerseys.
both wear
Oh
North
my
Stars
God.
jerseys.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the CEO of Dallas, whose name we shouldn't know, but his last name is Lights. I can't remember what his
First name's
Jim
Miller.
Jim Lights.
Jim
Miller Lights.
Miller Lights.
Not sponsors of this podcast. Lights had those dumb comments where he called Sagan and Ben horseshit. Jim Nill came out and said, while I don't condone the language that Lights used, the message is correct, they need to be better. In the midst of the most unprofessional, asinine, stupid, don't interfere with your team, you're worse than Jerry Jones, Snyder, every other bad owner in professional sports moment. Do you think, Jim Nill, it might not be best to say, I don't condone that messaging, and then stand up for the players you're supposed to stand up for? Lights is business side. Nill is hockey operations side. You gotta stand up for the guys who, are your entire franchise? My God, the stupidity. Yeah, maybe they're right. They're not. Maybe they're right. They're really not. But maybe they're right, and that Ben and Sagan are the problem. They're not. That's not the venue for it. That is not the avenue. That's not the medium. That's not the way you deliver the message. Even if he's right, he's not. Don't condone the message, you dipstick.
But he doesn't like the swearing.
He doesn't like no swears.
Don't swearing. You can't call them horse shit. They are horse poop.
No cussing, no cursing, no swears. We don't do that. But they are god frickin' awful. Oh God. The sheer stupidity.
Would you like me to translate Jim Nill's statement for you? Loosely translated, it roughly means, please don't fire me.
You know how you don't fire Jim Nill? By not pissing off your best two players.
You're not wrong, because this is a CEO who's crazy. It's not even an owner. A CEO, the owner probably said that, mind you. A CEO who's crazy enough to come public with his comments is crazy enough to fire Jim Nill randomly. So you're not
100%. 110%. And to be fair, Jim Nill could, even if the only way Jim Nill could have saved his job had he disagreed with Jim Lights would have been dependent on the inevitable return that he gets for Sagan and Ben in the coming trade.
Well, you can pretty much all but put Carlson not going to Dallas at this point.
There's zero chance.
He just escaped Melnick. Why would he go back into another place like that?
No. If I'm Jim Nill, I would sit down with the owner and the CEO and go, can't get this guy now. Way to go.
He just has a big picture of Erik Karlsson. He just takes this red marker and just one big X.
One big X.
Like, this is what you've done.
He's like, I learned that from Ken Holland.
Yeah.
He's just going to dress up in a Johnny Depp Pirates of the Caribbean costume. He goes, I love great players. I like to pass it. Wave at them as they pass by.
A Pirates of the Caribbean reference. Wow, that's probably our most abstract one yet.
I'm going to try and top that eventually.
They're making a new one without Johnny Depp.
That's like the Dallas Stars trying to play hockey without Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin.
It is best if you don't want people to abuse other people on set, though. It's probably for the best.
But
Yeah.
what about his tiny dogs?
His tiny dogs?
Yeah, you didn't hear about the whole controversy with them and taking them to Australia. They were like considered a feral species and almost got put down.
What kind of dog were they?
Little.
That was a few years
yappy
ago.
Dogs. I don't know. Yeah, it was a while ago.
Anyways.
That was the funniest news story I ever read because it was just so absurd.
Have you read the news since 2016?
No, I have not. What's happened?
Whoa.
Oh, the All-Star Game made some bad picks. And with that, we're going to go over to Patreon, where all of our patrons get their comments read out for overtime, exclusively as our way of saying thank you for your support.
And before we get into it, since everybody's listening to About Overtime, one thing we're going to start doing for the Sunday episodes, we're going to continue taking questions from Patreon. We're going to continue taking some questions from Reddit, but also go to Twitter with the hashtag AskWWP, and we will start filtering some questions from Twitter as well for those of you who don't use Reddit. Or
Hashtag AskWWP.
Yep.
Antonio says, Happy New Year's, guys. Happy New Year. Oh, yeah. Happy first episode of 2019.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
19, the Year of Iserman.
The Year of Iserman.
Returning.
In honor of the Winter Classic, describe your dream Winter Classic. Which teams from which era, where are they playing, and what do the jerseys look like?
Oh, we can go any era.
Detroit versus Toronto in the big house wearing the exact jerseys they did, but we picked the 0-2 Red Wings and this year's Maple Leafs.
I was going to pick the 0-2 Maple Leafs because they were like literally a couple wins away from playing the Red Wings in the finals that year.
Actually, yeah, that's better.
It would have worked.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I think for me the most fun one would be the 0-2 Red Wings at the Big House versus, I don't know, the 2011 Maple Leafs. Just pick one of their garbage years and just watch an absolute
They probably
shit
beat
kicking.
us like 1-0.
They probably, because of the hockey gods, the way they go.
Yeah.
So away she goes. Dan Bell says, hey guys, hope your Christmas went well and you all had a good New Year. Been busy and still 2 pods behind, but just wanted to say hey. In Michigan, this week at a friend's lake house, and got some Labatt Blue Red Wings cans. So stoked. Anywho, Wings still suck, but not as sucky as the Blackhawks. Blashill sucks. Larkin is the man. Cheers, guys. Cheers,
Joke's
Dan.
on
Happy
you.
New
We
Year.
almost started sucky.
Brandon Taylor says, Happy New Year's, everyone. Just a basic hockey question here. What is the best way to learn about other teams' prospects and pipelines? I feel like I have a pretty good knowledge of NHL guys, but keeping up to date with prospects is a bit of a challenge. Keep up the great work.
There's a website called Elite
Prospects.
Elite
Prospects.
prospects.
You can just search for hours.
There's if you really want to go in depth of guys before they're drafted, there's a resource I use that is a lifesaver called Prospect Shifts. Look him up on Twitter. Check out their website.
He's great.
Honestly,
They're
Twitter's a great resource. There's a lot of good prospect writers. Just off the top of my head, you have Corey Pronman of The Athletic, Ryan Kennedy of the Hockey News, friend of the podcast, Ryan Kennedy.
Ryan Kennedy, friend of the pod.
Of the Hockey News. And there's more that I'm forgetting, but yeah, look up those guys. They tweet stuff all the time. They'll put out articles. Pronman in particular puts out a lot of good, like, in-depth articles. He does a series every year where he literally ranks each team's farm system from 1 to 31 and then explains why and actually drafts out the prospects. So even just going back and reading his article, I think he put it out on, let's say, September or October. That one article alone will give you a pretty good idea of where they're at. So, and of course for Red Wings prospects, you come right here.
Kaylin Wood says, living in Texas has got me pretty excited for the Winter Classic next year. Any thoughts on who the opponent might be? My guess is St. Louis due to proximity, but man, Vegas would be a cool one. I actually think it'll be Vegas.
I've actually heard Vegas is a strong possibility, and I'm all in for it.
Anyway, can't wait to see our third sweater, assuming the rumors are true. I'm really hoping for the barber pole, fingers crossed. Fun stuff. What's your favorite 90s band? Doesn't have to be when you were a kid. Like, who do you respect now that you're older? As an example, Oasis was a band I listened to, but now that I'm older, I respect them and their contributions to music far more. Similarly, I can see the absolutely outstanding range of Eminem's talent now, even when I'm older.
Those are both of mine.
Oh, yeah. Even if I don't ever listen to him or really care for his music, he's undeniably a living legend as opposed to when I was younger and just like the curses and icky stuff. Cheers, boys. Since my message was missed from last week, Happy New Year and best moving forward. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Kayla.
I think the obvious answers here are Spice Girls and Aqua.
Oh, man.
Backstreet
I can't believe
Boys.
you're not wrong.
The 90s were definitely all about the boy bands and girl bands.
Okay, here's the thing.
Red Hot Chili Peppers are my unsung
Really?
pick. Yeah.
I'm the opposite.
I love Blink-182.
Oh, yeah.
I hate what's happened to them, but they're my go-to. That being said, we do have to give legitimate consideration here to the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, because there's not a human being our age or older alive that doesn't sing along with every one of their songs when they come on.
Everybody. I know the dance.
Like, honestly, we all made fun of them and would admit, no, we don't listen to them. We don't listen to them. Now that we're older, we all crank out every single one of their bangers.
I'd say Sum 41 aged rather well.
They
for
did.
music.
Yeah, they didn't go crazy like everyone in, also Blink-182.
We all still know the words to In Too Deep and Fat Lip.
Oh, yes.
Nickelback.
I don't even need the music
What about
to do.
Nickelback? Everyone hates, but you have to admit,
Were they 90s? I feel like
ultra successful.
No, I think they were more early 2000s.
Yeah,
Really?
I don't think they were. Technically
I trust Brad because he
speaking,
was much older than us at
Yeah.
that time.
technically speaking,
Brad
Linkin
died
Park.
in the 90s.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Technically speaking, Linkin Park.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Old Linkin
Yeah.
Park.
Hybrid Theory is still, hands down, my favorite album of
Was
all
that
time.
99?
That was 99.
Marissa says, this question comes from my brother Mike. Hello, Marissa's brother Mike. Welcome, kind of, to the Winged Wheel Pod. I've heard you refer to the Red Wings as a slow team. Are they actually slow or just lazy? With a few exceptions, I feel like most of the team doesn't even skate that hard.
I'd rather us be slow than lazy because lazy is far
To
worse.
me, the most obvious example is Abdulkader. People call him a grinder, which he obviously doesn't do well, and I feel like it has as much to do with his laziness as it does his general suckiness. Oh, he couldn't go faster if he tried.
No, honest to God, I have a lot of criticisms of Abdulkader. I don't think his effort level is one of them. I think he's just that slow.
Guys like Larkin and Bertuzzi work hard, but I just feel like the team as a whole doesn't play with the kind of intensity they should. You're not wrong, but they're also slow.
They're also tremendously so. Like, even some of the better players on the wings, like Bertuzzi and Rasmussen, are not good skaters. Like, Mantha's deceptively fast. Helm, Athanasiou, and Larkin, ironically, are among the fastest players in the league. They do not have any good middle-of-the-road skaters. Even Cholowski, as gifted as he is laterally on his skates, he is not a top-end north-to-south skater. Neither is Hronek. None of their defense are burners. They are probably, with the exception of maybe St. Louis, the slowest team in the NHL.
Advanced Water says, Happy New Year's, Wings fans. My resolution this year is not to complain about teams I like and instead enjoy the games they play. Right now I'm focusing very hard on Larkin. Oh boy, do we have a podcast for you.
I am so sorry about your timing, but I also am a big fan of Larkin and Athanasiou, especially in the shootouts. When it eventually, hopefully, happens.
John Gordon says, howdy boys, former Michigander now living in the Big Crabapple. Wondering if it's just me or do you guys feel that Rangers fans are particularly prickish? Don't get me wrong, the fans from the Isle are bad too, but there's just something about Rangers fans that really irks me. In some ways they remind me of Madison Square Garden itself. Storied and renowned, the team at least, but drab and dusty as all get out. Anyways, curious to hear what you guys think. P.S. Is it just me or should Holland think of putting De La Rose on the block?
What would we get for him? An additional sixth?
He's a dime a dozen. He was on the block. He was on waivers. They picked him up off waivers.
Jacob De La Rose is the hockey player equivalent of the color beige. I mean, there's just nothing to him. I've been to a New York Rangers game at MSG in a season where they were actually particularly good. I don't like to sum up an entire fan base based on one person, but the guy next to me spent the entire 60 minutes of the game complaining about everything and everybody. And, I mean, that night the Rangers did get their asses handed to them, like, I think it was 5-1.
That's why you just sit there in silence and die a little inside.
I didn't care who won. I was having a good old time. I saw Rich Clune score a breakaway goal. It made my trip.
No way.
Yeah.
Where were you when Rich Clune scored a breakaway goal?
Yeah, he went forehand, backhand, tucked it around Lundqvist. It was beautiful.
Wow.
And his celebration was even better. Rich Clune celebrated like Rich Clune just scored a breakaway goal.
I'd be celebrating too.
Rowan says, Talofa from Samoa, fellas. Elite top liner Darren Helm. That's my hockey contribution for today. A lot of spaces. He tabbed like 8 times. There's a big space in the sentence. Cautious and curious about the Wings getting a third jersey because, well, frankly, Adidas/NHL has been hit and miss so far, and they're still passing off the Adizero as an on-ice authentic, which it ain't. Pales in comparison to the old Reebok Edge, CCM, etc. Hopefully it's like when Reebok took over and they'll start selling the proper ones retail soon, though. Yeah, there's always that really weird iffy stage when they switch jersey providers. But I've seen the same complaints. Rowan seems to be our resident expert on jerseys, so I'll take his word for it.
I'm just happy with Adidas versus Reeboks that we don't have that awkward cut at the bottom anymore where it's shorter in the sides for whatever reason. The Adidas has it so it's a little longer in the back, but I at least somewhat understand that because players are hunched over most of the time. Doesn't make for a good jersey to just wear.
I
but
still think the collars are near unforgivable. I can't.
No, I don't. I don't like the collars at all.
Kyle Wasserberger says, "Hey guys, do you think Ottawa having Matt Duchene and Mark Stone as possible rentals is clogging or driving down the Nyquist market? I've heard a bunch of people talking about how Gus is having a career year and is probably our most valuable trade piece. But if I were an opposing GM, I think I'd take a swing at Duchene or Stone first, right?
100%.
Both are younger than Nyquist. Has there been any credible thoughts as to what Ottawa's planning on doing with those two? Yeah, credible and Ottawa aren't two things that you can
Didn't they just waive Tom Pyatt to free up like $300K?
Yeah, but to be fair, they have been talking extension with Stone and Duchene, so...
Which, if they're smart, they'll do. At literally any money.
They have to, because Duchene's low-key one of the guys I hope Detroit takes a run at in the summer if he makes it that far, because he could probably be had for like 8.5, but he's a point-a-game centerman, so that would be some nice depth, but... Yeah, I don't know. The rumor is they're talking extension. I for the life of me cannot see what the dollar amount would have to be for Duchene and Stone to want to stay. Like, look at McDavid in Edmonton right now. He's making $12.5 million, and he looks like he wants to kill himself every night. So, you know, money, it's true, I guess. Money doesn't buy happiness, and it doesn't buy you a hockey team.
But you don't see anyone frowning on a jet ski.
No, but you
only get to use it 4 months a year.
In Alberta, that's certainly true.
Yeah. Ugh. Good timing on that signing. Remember when McDavid negotiated his own contract down? And Charlie went, oh yeah, alright, I think that's better.
And he had to confirm with someone to make sure.
It's like 12.19 is lower than 13.18? Yes. What does he actually make? 12.5?
12.5.
Wow.
I want to look up that contract.
12.5 for 8 years.
Where are they?
But you know it's worth it.
It kicked in this year. He's got 7.5 years left there.
There's no trade protection.
Yeah, because he would be the easiest person on the planet to trade. Hi, Detroit, we're looking to trade Connor McDavid. You can have our entire roster.
Oh, but there wouldn't be trade protection for his RFA years.
Yeah, he's not eligible for it for a while, so.
Not that anyways.
I wonder if they'll protect him in the expansion draft.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe, right? With that, that's all the questions we have on this week's episode of the Wing Wheel Podcast. We would like to thank everyone. We would really like to thank our Patreon patrons the stuff that we talk about doing. We meet every once in a while.
Should we tell them the two we've established?
We meet every once in a while to talk about different ideas that we have for the podcast, what we want to do for them. This is genuinely, you have three guys here who this podcast runs off of two things. One, our love for hockey, and two, the support of everyone, but truly the patrons. Brad has a daughter, Evan has a cat, I have seasonal affective disorder. We all have full-time jobs. Like, we are maxed out, but this is all possible because of you. We have a couple of things, Brad.
So I don't have the exact dates in front of me, so Ryan will confirm this, but we are gonna, as promised, now that it's new year, new us, we're gonna start religiously sticking to a lot of the things we've promised. So the first thing is we're gonna do one live stream a month, all three of us.
January 20th.
January 20th, and that is the game against the Capitals or Canucks, did we decide on?
Whatever is on the 20th.
Which was the Canucks, I believe.
And I think it's a 4 p.m. game.
It's a 4 p.m. Sunday afternoon game, so yeah, that was why, because we figured most people would be home. People just chill out, relax, so we're going to do a live stream there.
Canucks, 4 p.m.
The last weekday episode of every month, because it could be a Wednesday or Thursday, so we'll just say last weekday episode of every month is going to be a Patreon exclusive episode.
Typically.
Most of the time. It would take a really weird circumstance for that not to happen. It's not going to be a normal episode. It's going to be covering a topic that you Patreons request, which the benefit for non-Patreons in this one is for the Sunday episode that week, it will be a bit of a bigger episode because we'll be covering the whole week then, rather than just the 3 to 4 days leading up. But then it does give us an opportunity to dive into some really cool subjects that we wouldn't otherwise normally dive into, and the Patrons can request, we will talk, yada yada yada. We're still working out the exact format of how we're going to pick what that topic is every month.
It's the two top level Patreon tiers can pick it.
Yeah, and then we pick one out of what they suggest. Also, we are ramping up our social media presence. More posts, more contents for you guys, like we promised. So go follow us on Instagram because we've actually started posting there. So keep an eye on that. We're going to be more active on Twitter. We're going to try and be more active on Facebook, although I think Facebook is the devil, but for those of you that still use it, hey, we're going to try. And if you have anything else you want us to do, let us know. We truly do want to get to doing the YouTube videos eventually, but that is the one-time commitment we have not found the time for.
YouTube is held up by one thing, and it's the physical space we work in. We're right now in a half basement, basement that is basically just meeting our needs, and it doesn't, as you hear me in the vents behind me, and there's not a good lighting for us to do what we want to do. We're happy to put out like the way we put out like the pre-show episodes for patrons and the full episodes with like terrible audio quality. Like, that's all fine because you don't need anything spectacular for that. But we want to do like Steve Dangle's style, like, you know, the blue room, we want a red room. But that depends on one of us three buying a property that we can renovate
and also find the time to film, edit, and post said video. Like, actually, the filming of the video is not too bad, because for those of you who've seen the video I was in with Steve, that only took me like 20 minutes to
we can fire off
together.
Like that.
And Steve said he wanted to edit it to do what he wanted, so I didn't have to do the editing, which was great. So it was 20 minutes, I'm done, yada yada yada. The editing takes like an hour or two, which is what we don't have right now.
So we're going to get more into that. What we're also going to have for patrons is a monthly calendar we're going to be putting out. We're also going to do an apparel sale, so keep an eye out for that.
There's really soon. I thought we already launched it.
No, because we have to. We're going to do. It's going to be coupled with a giveaway. There's going to be an apparel giveaway for patrons.
Gotcha.
Right now, one thing I want you to do: go to @WingedWheelPod on Twitter, follow it. Go to the bio. See those 3 accounts listed? Follow those accounts. Evan is 44 followers away from 1,000. Let's get Evan to 1,000.
Let's go.
I want, by the end of the year, I want us both. Evan 2. I'll be ambitious. All 3 of us will be at 2,500.
Wow.
Cool. I'm like 850 away.
Yeah.
I can tell you my retweet game is the top percent.
You got a good... Evan does have a good retweet game.
What was the one massive story that broke in the summer? Like, the Red Wings signed someone. Evan just tweeted, like, an hour after the fact, Red Wings signed whoever. And then you go to the trending topic page on Twitter, and Evan's one of the top 3.
Oh, I know. It was so
It's all about your timing.
It was
you don't have to be the quickest.
You're like an hour late.
It's quality, not quantity.
Like us on Facebook. If you want to support us, go to Patreon. If you want to support us in other ways, subscribe however you get your podcasts. Rate us on iTunes. It's huge for us. like, do the whole thing, interact with us on Twitter. We will see you on Sunday. Best of luck. Happy Year of the Octopus. Happy Year of the Iserman.
Return.